Hi, this is RMO, and I am not a stalker. They show up at your doorstep unannounced, attend recreational kickball games you host, and stand across the street for hours. And I didn't do any of that. All I was doing was watching my friends play kickball, talking to white boys at the park, and just trying to have a good time. Would a stalker send menacing DMs through your Instagram? So, Jess, it hurts me so much that you think I'm stalking you, even though you look like Princess Peach from Mario Brothers.
Pottery, things of that nature.
So are there classes that are offered on site?
Yes.
Okay. And how does do you have to sign up for those classes?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have to pay for those classes?
Usually those are, so it's both. There are some programs that are internal where you pay through us, and then there are some you pay through the instructors. Pottery, etc. It's an example of that one.
Okay. And so your first encounter with Mr. O was around the 15th of April. So from then until the end of the month, so a little over 2 weeks, how many days did you see Mr. O?
Every single day, weekday, Monday through Friday.
Okay. And you're typically you keep more traditional business hours?
I do. I work
the phrase that.
I work the front desk Monday through Friday.
Okay. And so when Mr. O would come, what would he say would he ever say what he wanted or what he was doing there?
He would say things like, I just want to know what's going on today, even though he'd been the day previously, and he would understand, okay, well, we have senior aerobics right now, so there's really nothing to just pop in for. And this would happen over and over and over again every day, multiple times a day.
Okay. To what extent, and you may or may not know the answer to this, during these few weeks, were there other people that he was making contact with at the department?
Yes, there were a couple.
Okay.
We have, yeah.
So let me ask it this way. To what extent was it focused on you versus being spread around to other people?
I would say initially it was for whoever was sitting up there, but then it became more about our interactions.
Okay. And so it looks like that you filed your petition on the 2nd of May. So what happened across late April and the very beginning of May?
I would say the determining factor for me was I saw him that Friday night at my kickball game, which was just league play. It's not a spectator event. Then he came to a public event the very following day. Told me I looked like this video game character, was talking to me. Told me I was gorgeous. On Sunday we're closed. Monday he came in 3 times. He took my business card from my business card holder, left, showed up at my house 30 minutes later, rang the doorbell, and talked to my husband through our video camera.
Now, are you, sometimes I have to ask stupid questions, and you're allowed to give me, I won't call it a stupid answer, but an obvious answer. Is your home address on your business card?
It is not.
Okay. And so I hope you understand why I deem that question what it is. I know that would be uncommon at best, but do you have any idea as to how he may have come to know your home address?
I don't.
Is your full name on your business card?
I go by Jess, so it's Jess Joyner Marshall rather than Jessica Joyner Marshall. But yeah, close enough.
I mean, it has a last name, I guess. Let's put it that way.
Yes, it does.
All right. And so you were not there. Were you at work when he took the card and left and then went to the home?
Yes.
All right. Did you submit a video of this interaction?
I submitted the video of him on the porch. I think that was all that was captured.
All right. Madam Clerk, are we able to pull that up and screen share?
Should be, I believe it's number 2.
All right. And so do you know approximately when this video was taken?
If I can look at my phone, I can give you the exact time.
Just the date. So was this like April 30th, May 1st?
May 1st, that Monday.
Okay.
3:30, I believe.
Okay, so afternoon.
Yes.
And so, and your husband made contact with him through the it's not really security service doorbell, but the ring style doorbell system. He was able to
Yes.
communicate, and then to the best of your knowledge, Mr. O left.
Yes.
And when was the next time you saw him after that?
Well, I told my supervisor that he had come to my house, and so they called the police.
Okay, was he told to stay away from you and your office as a result of that at all?
My work did a criminal trespass.
Okay.
For this site.
And have you seen him? Have you seen him at the office since then?
Not at the office.
Okay. Have you seen him elsewhere since then?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I think it's exhibit number 3. On the 15th of May at 6:12, my neighbor texted my husband saying he saw him walking towards my house. And then number 4 is a picture of him across the street, not 100 yards away, this past Saturday at 4:45 p.m.
All right. If we can see exhibit 4. And ma'am, just to make sure I'm on the same page, exhibit 3 is a text message from a neighbor. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. And so this was the picture. By whom was this picture taken?
My husband.
All right. And I see a small white dog in this picture, as I saw on the video. Have you seen him with that canine at other points along the way?
I have.
All right. And this may be a question you don't know the answer to. Was Mr. O, do you know if he would drive to the facility, walk?
I believe he drives.
Okay. And would he also be likely to drive from the facility to your house if he was going from one to the other?
I believe so.
Okay.
Just I had no idea that was your house and randomly rang your bell and stood there with my dog. I was just trying to meet new people. What a winky dink.
Wishes, thoughts, plans, positive or negative toward you about what his intentions are?
So I don't know if sent it yesterday. He sent a message to the Parks and Rec Instagram. We can pull that up. If not, I can read it from my phone.
Madam
And
Clerk,
it doesn't mention me by name, but it says something to the effect of, "Leave me alone, you leave me the fuck alone, you fucking pale-faced, blue-eyed devils, we can burn in hell, also fuck the cops," or something along those lines. So no direct threat.
Was that a private
That was
message?
yesterday.
Was that was that a response to a post? Was it a private message? Something
That
else?
was my understanding is that it's a direct message to the Parks and Recreation Instagram. And I have the social media coordinator. If you need to speak with her, I can grab her. But that was yesterday.
Okay. We'll see if that's necessary in rebuttal. We'll review that. Okay. And just for the purposes of the record, I show a return of service dated May 6th, 2023, filed in with this court May 9th, 2023. So I think those are all the preliminary questions I have. Sometimes we have to take turns or go back and forth. Mr. O, if there are questions that you think I should be asking this witness, you can suggest those questions to me and I will consider asking them. Separate from that, you will absolutely have the opportunity to testify or offer evidence if you wish to do so, but that will come after. That does feel a little bit out of order to many people, but unfortunately, that's how this goes. Do you have any questions that you believe I should ask this witness?
Yes, Your Honor. I just think you should ask the I'm sorry, I'm just, very anxious right now, but um whether whether it was just like if I just wanted to ask if you think that I knew that if this was her specific address, because this address just turned out to be in my neighborhood, and I'm sorry, I don't. You just said questions, right? I'm sorry, I don't.
Sure. Questions first. We'll do statements second. If you'd rather
Well,
just move to statements, then we can do that, but I have to swear you in first.
Of of course, if I knew that this specific house was your address, because I go to a lot of houses in that neighborhood because I live in that neighborhood, and whether or not I came to that kickball game because you were there, because you weren't on my mind at the time. I went there because my friends were there.
Well, she
And
doesn't have a way to know what's on your mind,
sorry,
so she can't really answer that.
I apologize, Your Honor. I'm just thinking too much.
It's okay. So, um, we've seen I'll go ahead. She's not really in a position to answer your question because she doesn't know where else you did or didn't go that day. So if you choose to testify, you can, but what she can only tell you is what she witnesses firsthand. It's against the rules for her to speculate. So what she saw was that you took her business card, you left, and then fairly soon after that, you were on the doorbell camera at her residence. So it's possible that you were a Girl Scout and it was cookie selling season and you were going door to door in the neighborhood to help a cousin or a sister or something. I don't know. But what she can do is testify to her part of the experience. If you choose to testify, you can testify to your part of the experience. And then to the extent those things conflict, it's the judge's job to decide who to believe and why. So, do you have any other questions you think I should consider for this witness, or would you like to move on to the part where you testify?
Um, I would just like to ask whether I made any threats or was physical in any way, or I guess I guess I really don't have any questions, honestly.
I can break those. I can break that down into a few questions. Did he ever convey any specific threats to you?
No.
Were there ever any statements that you took as menacing or harmful, or I guess veiled threats would be what I would say?
Yeah, definitely yesterday's message.
The Parks and Rec message that you're referencing. Okay.
Correct.
And has he ever had any kind of physical contact with you? I know
He has not.
In person. Okay. All right. Mr. O.
Yes. Yes, about the Instagram message, that was in response because the rec center Instagram page liked a few of my posts of my dogs, and I don't understand why, because this happened after I was verbally and horribly abused by the cops that they sent after me.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we're ready for testimony. So
I'm
we'll
sorry.
go ahead and have you. It's okay. You can raise your right hand for me.
I apologize, Your Honor.
No, you're doing well. Do you swear any statements you make to the court will be the truth under penalty of perjury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can put your hand down if you'd like. So, as we move through this hearing, understand that the statements that are being made today are made under oath and they can be used in other court proceedings to whatever end. With that advisement, what would you like to tell us today, Mr. O?
Well, I just think that this whole situation is frankly insane to me, and I don't think I don't understand why Jesse or the rec center ever like contacted me to meet with them so they could explain the whole situation to me, about my supposed misconduct, and just explain like mature, sane adults instead of like sending the Gestapo after me, because it was pretty traumatizing encountering those police officers, and one of them in particular was incredibly hostile, aggressive, and was speaking to me in a very violent tone. It was clear that he wanted. I just, he just. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, and I just don't understand. why they just immediately went to the cops. I was issued no warnings or whatever. They didn't want to talk to me about anything, like, or try to like settle this, like, you know, as sensibly as possible. Because I
Well,
like, sorry, go ahead, Your Honor.
yeah, I can jump in here. And what I will tell you is this, Mr. O, what you're here for right now is a civil proceeding. It's not a criminal proceeding. And I can tell you that the standard practice in a circumstance where one party, whether that's a corporate entity, a government entity, or an individual, wants another party to stay away from a place, the way to do that is to involve the police to the extent that it needs to be documented and recorded. And it sounds like what happened here was that they took two steps. One, a trespass warning, which was documented and relayed by the police. And then two, the filing of this action, which is a civil action, not a criminal action, to further reinforce those preferences and those boundaries. And so, there's aggressive and there's assertive. This is not aggressive. They didn't have someone go kick your door in, because they don't do that for these types of for civil cases. But they also were very clear as to about what boundaries they wished to set. So, so I want to correct that misconception, because I don't want you to leave here. I understand the feelings you experience going through this event are certainly valid, but to the extent that those feelings might be coming from a misunderstanding of the process and procedure as it played out, I do want to take an opportunity to discuss those details in the hopes that that might change some of the concerns that you have. Now, what I will say, what else can you tell us about the actual events that played out across April and into May?
Oh, April into May. Well, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. I met I met Jesse at the on as she said, on April 15th, I think, at a public event at a park at the park. Um, she was just doing her thing. I was just going around with my dog, trying to take part in the event, just talking with people, um, talking with the Tucker residents about, because there was a bunch of whiteboards and they were asking people about ideas they could put for the community. And, I was just walking around trying to like enjoy myself, trying to have a good time, just trying to get to know people, I guess, because, we moved into the area, in late 2019. This was before the coronavirus pandemic, which was a really horrible timing. So we couldn't really talk with anyone for a long time. So, I thought it would be a good opportunity to get to try to know people in my community, or try to be more of a part of my community, because, I'm just usually always busy working, and, or going to work, or, doing other things. And yeah, I talked with Jesse, it's just a basic introduction, just a conversation, and she told me that I should go to the rec center, because I told her that I'd like to be more part of the community and find, hobbies and activities to do. So, and I talked with other people other than her, other people who worked at the rec center, not just her, So I thought I'd just come visit, like, I, I don't know if it was like the next day or whatever, but, eventually I did come visit the rec center at some point.
So, across the last 2 weeks of April, how many times do you think you went there?
I think I tried to go there as often as I had free time, because, I wanted to find new hobbies and new things to do, or find new ways to meet people, or meet new friends, make new friends, if that was possible.
So, did they give you a schedule of events?
They did, but it wasn't very detailed, the booklet that they gave me, and I tried using their online site, but it was just a mess to me personally. I don't know. I guess I just have a lot of things on my mind, so I just preferred going to the rec center just to ask about, events that are going on or going to happen, because I just feel it's easier for me personally, because, I know that might seem weird to Jesse, but for me, I didn't think there was much of an issue there personally.
Okay, so as far as
Jess, I'm not crazy. This was just a
um,
misunderstanding. Your Honor, if you grant this TPO, I will go crazy because I do not stalk Jess. I just live in her shed. Oops, I mean, I do not live in her shed.
um, and so they have video that they say you were at the rec center, you left the rec center, and then you were on her doorstep, you and your dog. And so what happened that day?
Yes, Your Honor. I was just going for a walk after I came home, and I usually like to visit my neighbors' homes just to, let them know that I'm in the neighborhood and that, they can feel a little safer when, since they know I'm around. So that way they don't feel off guard when they see me out there. I just thought, that I had no idea that was her home. Like I didn't just visit that house. There were other houses that knocked on the door of or I went to. But I'm sorry that she got that impression from me, or I don't know, just the whole thing just seemed like a horrible inconvenience. I'm sorry, I don't know the word for it, like convenience or like it just seemed convenient, like a
So at what point did you learn her full name?
when the sheriff came to me with the court notice of hearing.
Now, at that
I
point,
was
you had already taken her business card, right?
oh I'm yeah, but
Okay,
I didn't exactly read it. Well, actually,
but that was the same day you showed up at her house, correct?
yes, sir, but I didn't. Yes, Your Honor, but I did not know that that was her home.
Okay. And so, um, give me one moment. I've lost my screen is cut out for a second. So, and then there was a photograph that was shown, screen shared earlier, that showed what was possibly you walking your dog at the same street. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, but if could I? It's your. I mean, Your Honor. Sorry, Your Honor.
You
It's
don't
no.
have to be fancy like that. It's fine, but just focus on the questions as best you can. So, what was going on? I think it was the 15th was the testimony. That date that you were walking your dog again.
Um. Well, I was just walking my dog on my part, but I had no idea this was her exact address until I actually read about it in the packet a few days ago. I I don't know. The whole thing was just a misunderstanding or an inconvenience. Like I don't really know how to explain it exactly, but I didn't know this was her address exactly, Your Honor.
All right, give me one moment.
I don't because I don't think the sheriff specified where the accuser's address was, so I never thought to ask because I didn't want to know because I didn't want to get myself into trouble or anything or like possibly.
All right. Ma'am, are there any questions that I have not asked Mr. O that you think I need to ask Mr. O as part of this proceeding? Ms. Joyner Marshall, did you have any other questions that you believe the court needs to ask?
I guess I don't understand why we're contesting it if it's something he didn't know about.
Well, that's his claim, but his, I guess whether I find that testimony truthful and credible is for me to decide in determining whether or not he has intentionally committed acts of stalking. But that record by and large, I mean, you presented evidence prior to even filing the petition, that at least at the ex parte phase was sufficient to to get the initial order. So, all right. Mr. O, did you have anyone else who you intended to have testify today?
No, sir. It's just me.
Okay. All right. Having heard from the witnesses, what will happen is essentially as follows. I'll be 100% clear. I am not for a minute buying the story that you happened to pick up her business card, which would have contained her legal last name, and then coincidentally show up at her house later that same afternoon. Not even a little bit credible in the slightest. It's in a legal sense. I'm just not buying it, especially given the other pattern that was demonstrated leading up to that point. The excuses are flimsy to the point of being wholly unbelievable from start to finish. And it is a situation where I'm grateful you haven't made specific threats. That's certainly better than some cases that we have. But the behavior here is the type of following and surveillance and contact. The effort being put forward into making this contact is unusual in such a way that I think it's more than sufficient for the granting of this order. And so that is what I'm going to do. The conditions that will be in place will very much look like the conditions in the ex parte order, that he is to stay at least 100 yards away and have no contact of any kind. And that includes the petitioner's home. And so what I would say in that regard, I'm not sitting here with a ruler or a tape measure. I know you have a dog. I know that dogs need to be walked. I struggle to come up with a reason that that dog would need to be walked on that street. There is a park in the area. There are streets that go in other directions. And so that barrier, for all intents and purposes legally, is you can think of that as an impenetrable glass dome. And so you can take a detour, you can turn around, you can go somewhere else. Yes, Mr. O.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. You can finish before.
No, I want to make sure that we're all clear as to when we leave here what the expectations are. What did you have?
Well, I just wanted to note that the park next to me, I'm not allowed. I'm actually banned from that park now because of this limitation on my autonomy and freedom of movement. I'm not really allowed at a lot of these areas anymore, and I feel very boxed in and constrained personally.
Why is it that you think you're not allowed at that park?
It was on this list given to me by one of the officers at the rec center when they confronted me.
So that is a separate issue. So you have two different sets of rules that you have to abide by. So anywhere, it doesn't have to be listed twice. If it's on either list, you need to stay away. So what you were given is a list of trespass warnings in regards to DeKalb County property, I suspect, that include that DeKalb County park. That is a trespass warning, and violation of that would subject you to arrest for trespassing. What you are here for today, and the piece of this that I have control over, is an order that relates specifically to this petitioner and her family, and her home, her work, and her school, if applicable, and the same for her family, as well as any contact with her and her family directly, indirectly, or through third parties. So wherever she may be at a moment in time, you cannot be within 100 yards. So if you're at the Publix and she shows up at the Publix, it is incumbent upon you to head to the register and leave. That's how these orders work. And so by the same token, the penalties for these orders are tied up in the order themselves. And so this order runs automatically 12 months and will automatically expire May 22nd, 2024. And so those will be the terms that that will be imposed for that. And additionally, I will order as part of this, Mr. Ellis, we're going to have you speak to Mr. O when we wrap momentarily. There will be a psychological evaluation conducted and treatment as deemed necessary that the respondent is to comply with pursuant to this court order. And so those will be the terms that we will be operating under. I will get this order drafted today or tomorrow and entered into the court record and uploaded to the registry. The terms and conditions other than that last provision will by and large mirror the ex parte order as issued. Any other trespass warnings or directions given by any other entity, human, corporate, or governmental, they are unaffected by this case. So if they've told someone not to be somewhere, they can't be somewhere. If they've said don't make contact, there can't be any contact. And so that will be the plan moving forward, understanding that a violation of this order can constitute criminal charges, potentially including more serious felony charges. And so, that's circumstantial depending on the nature of the violation. So
Oh, God, Jess, I love you. Please, please leave your husband for me. You can live in my mom's basement, and I can dress you up like my favorite Nintendo princesses. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Time Served. I am Amino, and once again, I am not a stalker.